You are currently listening to a Suffolk Free Radio podcast. The views and opinions expressed on Keeping It Real are the views and opinions of the show personalities only and do not reflect those of Suffolk University, Suffolk Free Radio, or those at the Suffolk Leadership and Involvement Office. Adult language may be used, so listener discretion is advised. I-word. No introductions here. I just get right into it. We could just pick up on the thought we left off on if you want to.
Okay, so
welcome to Keeping It Real.
Fuck it. One take wonder. Welcome back to Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Ed Smith. I know I've taken a long break, but I am now back. And in this first episode, I was joined by Mitch. And in this episode, we talked about spirituality, politics, and other profound shit. I'm back for real now, so hit me up to join the conversation. Tune in and enjoy. That comes down to the person, though, I think. Like, what do you want to believe?
yeah, I guess I just think it'll change the way spirituality is handled, because right now, like, we're like a very, our culture is very like moved away, I feel like, from spirituality.
I'd agree with that. I don't know, because in the book it mentions a lot how, like, we're not religious based. Like, a lot of people would say they're spiritual but not religious. Like, they even gave like an acronym to it.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, everybody and their mother nowadays, like, oh, like, yeah, like my stars, and it's because the moon's in this way, and like that's why this is like this, and like, yeah, that's spiritual. Or like, people love tarot cards nowadays.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
That's spiritual, but
People are looking for something.
right. But still, at the end of the day, when things get tough for them, I don't think they're going back to like, oh, let me read my tarot cards.
Yeah. No, that's
because
facts.
majority of the girls out, or not just girls and guys that are like, oh, into all that star sign and astrology and tarot cards and whatnot. At the end of the day, what the purpose for, I guess, religion, what religion's really for, is like, you know, it's like believing in something higher than yourself. Like, you know, like, and that's something, I guess, you're supposed to like take comfort in and whatnot, and it's supposed to help you in certain ways.
No, that is a good point, because like, I guess what a true belief is when it is hard and when times are tough, like, you still do center yourself with it, you know?
Yeah.
I think you're right, where a lot of people have that when shit's good and shit's fun, and like, it's just an idea, it's just a concept, like, yeah, it's cool to believe in that stuff, but then when it comes to like a life and death situation, like, you start rethinking everything, you know?
Right, and that's like, I'm not like against any of like astrology or tarot cards and stuff. I actually think that stuff's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Again, but like, see how I said that? It's like, and like, once, you know, everybody has those friends that are like, oh, read your tarot cards, and you're like, all right, yeah. But I met this guy on the street freshman year. Like, he just chilled on the street. You know,
best place to meet people.
No, seriously. I mean, especially freshman year too. It was like such a weird time. So like, I mean, it probably speaks to where I was at, that I was going out onto the street talking to random people.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, he was just like chilling on his rug one day right out front of Macy's on Washington Street, and he just like had a little sign. He was like, tarot card readings, and he had like incense burning, a few candles burning. I was like, word, whatever. And like, this man, like, his mom was from the part of Africa that practices the religion that created tarot cards.
Mm-hmm.
So his mom was like an actual
shaman,
like whatever, practice, believed fully her whole entire life until she died, like, this religion that tarot cards came from. And so he took a lot from that. And it was really cool, because never before, when I got like my tarot cards read, whatever my cards read, he's literally saying prayers over the cards.
Yeah.
while he's shuffling through them in a different language. You know what I'm saying? And whatever. And like, whether you believe in that stuff or not, I think the readings he gave me were like the most accurate readings I've ever gotten. And he was also the one that explained to me, like, you know, everybody loves to be like, oh, I'm spiritual. But he was the one that explained to me, he's like, in my religion, in my culture, and he's like, if you do tarot cards wrong, like, it's like a sin.
Yeah.
Like, and
Like
to the point,
like a demonic practice.
yeah, to the point where like you could curse yourself with evil spirits if you're not doing it right. And like, he's like, you know, I love to see people, how everybody's into it now, but he's like, it's just a lot of people, majority of people are just doing it in a totally wrong way. And like,
I get that. He's also saying that because he's mad. Like,
probably is, but like at the same time, like, that's kind of like, it's not that I like put down that stuff when people are like, oh, I'm spiritual, and then they like throw you all that shit, like, oh, like my star signs. I'm not saying like I put that down, like I'm not like, oh, I don't consider that as like spirituality, but like I don't, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't take that as like 100% like.
Yeah. I feel like it's a trend, so that's why.
It's trendy. It's like something you find on TikTok, and you're like, oh, let me try this shit out.
Yes,
yeah,
and like it makes people feel comfortable, not only because like they do kind of believe in what it's doing for them, but then also having other people around them that agree and know about it, like it just binds them together in a certain way. So I think in its essence, it is a spirituality and it is a belief because it is bringing people together over an existential value, I guess. Mm-hmm. But like you said, there's no like it's not true practice. They're not researching where it's coming from. They're not researching how it's supposed to be done. And I don't even, honestly, I really don't give a shit about any of that. Like, I just want people to be happy, so do whatever that is. But I do get what you're saying, where like religion and spirituality is lost, and the little that is there is kind of like just scratching the surface. It's not people actually trying to find like the depth to things.
Right, because I think a big part of religion is, like a big pillar of religion is morals, right? Mm-hmm. Morals and values. And that's like sometimes almost a difficult thing, I guess, because like on one hand we have a basis of universal morals and values, or at least for like the majority of the modern Western world's history, we did.
There's a right and wrong.
Right, but those values have an origin too. Like those values originate from like ancient Greece and Rome into Judeo-Christian, you know, values and stuff like that. And then that formed like the bedrock of like culture and society for like hundreds and thousands of years. You know, it's like, don't kill your neighbor, you know, don't steal, don't rob, don't cheat, blah, blah, blah. Like that stuff that is just like, we know, everyone who lives here and in the Western world knows like that's wrong. Can't do that, you know? And I think a lot of that stuff, like the astrology and other stuff that like trendy spiritual stuff, doesn't have like morals or values, I guess. Like
it depends how deep you go.
Yeah, I guess it does depend how deep you go. But I guess what I'm saying is people don't go that deep.
Yeah.
Vast majority of people don't go that deep.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. But then again, on the flip side, it's like, then you have organized religions that have been around for a while that go overboard on the moral and virtue ends, you know, with anything.
No, I agree. And like you said, having it like the base be morals, there's like, I'm not saying all of anyone is anything. I'm not painting with that brush, but there are a lot of, I'm not even going to say a lot actually. There are Christians I know that I'm glad they found Christianity because they're not good people, but having like abiding by those laws and like being in fear of hell like has actually like made them able to live in harmony with society. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm not all against organized religion. I'm not for organized religion. It's what it does for people. And like there's people who I'd be scared of them if they didn't have those things, you know? And it's like, yeah, maybe maybe they found what's that thing for them. You know what I'm saying? Like I think when we look at all religions, like we're all tapping into the same thing in our own ways. You know what I'm saying? So like, with that, there's levels to it too. So like, you're talking about people not getting too deep with the astrology and shit like that. But if it makes them a good person, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it makes them, like, if they have like some limited level of spirituality, they're not even necessarily tapped into like the deep divine being or whatever is past that, I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm just glad that they're good humans to other humans. But I get what you're saying, where like it feels like we've lost like that strive to find that deeper energy inside of us, like that soul, that like being that like connects us, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, like, does religion even like make you happy? Like, like it's like
I think
where it's tough to, I guess, from our standpoint as just two college guys who aren't like psychologists, who don't study theology. It's hard to, I guess, put exact definitions or know the exact definitions of what exactly spirituality is supposed to do for you. And different people are going to have different answers for that, I think. But happiness, I don't know about happiness.
Well, I think it gets you to happiness. So like, I think
right, but like, see, when I think back to,
or at
so
least
I was
into the
raised
pursuit.
Catholic, and like, so when I think of that stuff, and like, I guess what Catholicism believes is like, if you follow the path of God or whatever, like, you never hear the word happiness. It's always just like peace. I feel like they use the word peace a lot, and like,
the thing is, I feel like it's not an individual happiness that's the focus. It's like a peace among the ones around you, which I believe that's like the actual core of all spiritualities, all religions, is like recognizing that we all are one being moving together, you know?
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, we had to evolve into religion at some point. Religion just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, everything that humans do, we evolved into at some point because we had to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And we have a certain part of our brain that is only activated when we do spiritual activity. So that means it had to be at some point evolved specifically for that along the evolutionary process, which means at some point it was deemed necessary in our DNA that we needed spirituality for survival. So,
and so you're trying to say now, like, it's not necessary, and that's
no, not at all.
Not that it's not. Like, it is necessary, but it's not seen as necessary.
I think it's super necessary. I think it's super, super necessary. It's just so hard now because now that organized religions are pretty much, I don't know. I feel like among our generation, organized religion
in America,
is like in America. Yeah, exactly.
If we
third world countries, let's say. I mean, first Western world countries, let's say.
Yeah.
And I think, like, we it's hard because organized, but like, I'm not even saying like, I'm kind of glad we moved away from the organized religions. I guess in a sense, the only way I could see it moving on is if, like, the Christianity just totally changed its face and it still had the Bible and stuff, but just like look like something totally new. Same thing with, I guess, anything else in America. Judaism.
Yeah,
Islam.
It is interesting because it is case by case. But if we are talking about the bigger picture, I know what you're saying. Because like I myself, I was brought up in like a Catholic church, and I still believe in all that stuff. And I could still go back to that church, and those people still take me in, and those people like still support me, and they even have talked to me about the podcast and everything. And what they showed me is like this sounds so cliche, but like the church isn't the building, you know what I'm saying? Like the church is the people that go. And I feel like that was like I feel like I was taught a good version of Christianity. Like I actually do, because I remember like the masses he'd go through a verse, we'd sing the songs or whatever, and then the priest would just go and give us a story that happened to him throughout the week, like something that happened where he had to practice like the parable that we just read. And it was so applicable. It was so cool. And I was like, he was teaching me that, like, no, these stories aren't, like, they weren't literal. You know, like, he was even telling me that, like, it's not literal. It's to teach you how to live a good life of virtue and stuff like that. And, like, I'm so grateful for that because that's how I viewed it. And then I came outside of that. I wasn't necessarily ignorant, but I was like, oh, I don't like sitting through church. I was like 13. Like, it was just tiring. I was an altar server for like 5 years. So I just didn't want to keep doing that. But I'm still thankful for what they taught me. And once I left that church and I saw how other churches were ran, I was like, oh, that's not, I was like, what they're doing is not what I was doing. Like, it says the same thing, but it's not, you know, because I have friends who, like, take it so literal. Like, it's difficult to have a discussion with them about it, you know?
Right. That's what I'm saying. And, like, that's why, see, what you just said, how you were raised with Christianity, like, I feel like that would be, like, more towards the future of what
it felt nuanced.
right, like, that would be, like, at least in my head, like, if the Catholic Church wanted, like, a solid future, that's how they're gonna have to present it to young kids. Because, like, if you're gonna go around being like, Adam and Eve were two real people, and that's how monkeys didn't evolve into humans, just Adam and Eve popped out of the ground one day because God told them to, you know, like, that's just a small silly example, but, like, you know what I'm saying.
I know exactly what you're saying.
But, like, at least for me, I didn't really start understanding, like, what
that's not a silly example, by the way, though. That's, like, legit. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, I feel like I don't know many people personally that believe that, but I know there are definitely people out there that still believe that.
Yeah, and the people, like, I'm sorry, but, like, Immaculate Conception, like, actually angers me a little bit. Like, the idea of, like just the way that puts it, like, that's how you're supposed to, like, view women. Like, they should be untouched virgins that bring in, like, what do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, again, there's a lot of things, too, that I guess in the Bible aren't applicable anymore because simply they were probably put in the Bible strictly for, like, survival reasons.
But people who believe that's real is, like, it's insane.
Oh, right. But, like, imagine, like, 2,000 years ago when they wrote the Bible, you know, they were probably, like, saying that because they didn't have any birth control back then or whatever.
Yeah.
And they didn't want people just getting, you know, pregnant out of wedlock and stuff. So 2,000 years, and of course it was 2,000 years ago, so who knows what ways they were thinking in. But, like, you know, at least, not saying it's right or wrong, but at least you can see the train of thought that they might have had putting that in the Bible.
I
but
see
now,
the train of thought.
flash forward now, when literally
say.
everyone, at least, again, in the Western world, well, as of, again, Harry with the whole Supreme Court thing, everyone in the Western world has access to birth control in some form, one way or the other. So that's no longer...
Kind of not.
kind of not. Depends where you live. But still, for the vast majority. So that's not even something you need to worry. Or even regardless, still, with or without birth control, anywhere in the Western world, every single gas station in the United States still sells condoms.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that maybe rule isn't so much needed, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But kind of going back to the whole Christianity, Catholicism thing, I didn't start really understanding what Catholicism and Christianity was all about until I started really getting into Jordan Peterson, because I was kind of like the same way. I did Catholic school and whatnot, well, like CCD and whatnot, got confirmed, did all that. But at the end of it, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, nah, this is silly, you know, whatever. And, you know, I never thought it was for me. I thought church was boring and stuff. And I guess it kind of was because, you know, again, it all comes down to, like, who your priest is, who the people
You're
around
also
you.
a kid taught to sit still, which is, like, fucking, I'm never going to agree to that.
Exactly. But it wasn't until I started watching Jordan Peterson because, just like you said, he would take stories from the Bible, and him being a clinical psychologist would be like, no. Like, this story about Adam and Eve isn't actually about just, like, two naked people who popped up.
Yeah.
It's actually because... And then he'll explain something about, like... It's usually, like, a life moral or a life value. And then he's like, well, let's compare this to the literature in like clinical psychology and see, and a lot of times it just overlaps specifically to see like, well, so you don't feel depressed, it says to do this a lot in psychology. And then like this story in the Bible says the same exact thing. And you're like, oh, these people knew what they were talking about, but they just didn't have that boring, dry academic writing style they had because they didn't have papers, they didn't have books. The best way for you to spread information and for people to remember information was to put it in a really damn good story.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how
Or
they
a
did
song.
it. Or a song,
No,
yeah. And that's how they did it. And I think looking at
now it's taken literal.
Looking at that way, it was like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now there's so many things like I don't practice anymore. Like I don't still consider myself Catholic.
What do you believe in?
I'm searching, you know what I'm saying?
Fair.
I do have to say as I get older, the temptation to like move towards something gets stronger in me.
Like what?
I don't know. Again, it's just like I don't know, especially like
it's a weird
as we get older cuz like I don't know, it's weird. It's like to believe in something bigger in yourself. I don't know. It's just like
it's a weird intertwinement of, at least for myself, as what people define like philosophy, morals, and spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not all one thing. Like it's not.
Yeah.
So like when I believe in a lot of everything to put together to what I think it's about. You know. So like when people ask me parts, but if anyone ever asked me the whole, I'd probably say I don't know. You know, because it's like that's a loaded question. But like I think what's so cool about now is like our advancements in science and technology where like there's kind of proof to the things you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like you ever heard of like Joe Dispenza or like Andrew Huberman?
Yeah, I know Andrew Huberman.
Or like Wim Hof or like I mean these are all like kind of like they've been around like podcasts and stuff like that. So they're in and out of the like Joe Rogan and shit like that. But at the end of the day, they keep putting science to shit they were doing before science that like shows
it works.
It's real. There's like there's chemical things, and that for me. And then you have like the placebo effect where like if you just believe in that it works, like it's gonna work even more. So I just feel like for myself, where I find beliefs is like I focus on like one practice. Like I'd say right now I read a book it's by this guy named Shetty. I forget his last name. But it was called How to Think Like a Monk, and he was in a monastery for like 5 years, 6 years, something like that. And each chapter is just like about a different principle on how to live your life. And like one's forgiveness, one is like ambition, like integrity, shit like that. And each one I was applying to myself every day, and like I was growing. And then I was like it was crazy because I read it because it was just a gift to me, and I was like, oh, it'll be a good read or whatever. But then as I was reading and going through the practices, I was like, oh, this is working. Is that outside or inside?
Yeah, that's outside.
Holy shit. That scared the fuck out of me. Anyways, I just think that's what's cool is we have the opportunity to like intertwine feelings with logic.
Yeah. Well, like that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of this stuff, like why. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's like it's so cool now that we're able to like get that information to see. Like I think that's so cool.
And it's free.
Yeah, and it's free. But I don't know. I don't know. I just do think there's not like at least for myself. It's like something like I try to like be mindful of things, but I don't know. Something feels lacking.
Do you believe so? Like when you say mindful, what do you
like? I don't know. I just try to be conscious about myself, I guess, and like try to be conscious about
like actions, feelings, your interactions with people, how you like. I feel like when I say be mindful, when I'm genuinely mindful, I'm assessing how an interaction with a person made me feel, and like regardless of what my preconceived like notion of that person was or what people told me or whatever, I disregard that. I'm just like, oh, how was that for me? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I live by like that intuition, that gut feeling almost like, I mean, I want to say reading vibes, but it's kind of like cliche. It's more like just reading the situation as it is. I feel like we get so lost in like noise from other people telling us their opinions, their ways, their thoughts, like what we read, what like at the end of the day where you're really going to get closer to what it is when you take that time to like separate yourself from everything else. Like for example, like even I don't know, like there's just friends like my whole life, like I've always had people tell you like before class like, oh, this professor sucks, like, or this teacher sucks, like you're not going to like them. And I've never listened to that, and it's always been differently than what the person's told me, and I've always had my own relationship with that person, and I've always allowed myself to have that like own relationship. But I feel like a lot of people conform to the ideas of their peers, and they go into situations with beliefs that they didn't even create themselves, you know, and that's what's like damaging. And like I guess that would be like my spirituality is where like I really feel like it's just important to be an individual, you know, and it's important to assess things as your own with your own mind, you know. Like you can talk to like-minded people, but like even at the end of the day, like don't take anything anyone else says for your own thought.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a good way to think about things. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
But if you're looking, I guess that's where I started, and that's where I would like suggest starting is just being a genuine, like think about it. Like you think about so much shit and you're like, oh, that was influenced by someone else. How do I feel about it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's how I feel. That's why I think it's really important right now that we, like, especially our generation needs to come in touch to exactly what spirituality is, because exactly what you said is because there's so many outside influences now on us because of technology that I think we are so influenced. I would almost use the word corrupted to an extent.
Yeah.
As to think a certain way, and if someone else doesn't think that way,
don't listen.
Don't listen. They are wrong. Don't like them. They're the enemy. And again, that goes down.
I don't understand that like mob mentality. Like I understand it's almost like it's more comfortable to just agree with a group of people and have that group of people. But like where there's such a loss of fulfillment, and like there's not even the acknowledgement that you could have a more fulfilling life if you like had your own opinions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think it's because people think what they have their opinions on is like life or death almost.
Yeah.
To, you know, the extreme of it. Like, for example, this is just an example. Not a true example, but well, you like Trump or you voted for Trump. I don't like Trump. I can't like you.
Yeah.
Because
that represents your values.
That represents that you're evil, racist, you support the overthrow of the United States government, like we saw on January 6th. It means that you deny the election integrity, when in reality, you might not believe in any of that. You just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
it just helped your business.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
startup.
Or it's just like, well, I just really didn't like the other guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or anything. You know, you could say, I don't know.
I heard a conversation the other day. Two people were talking, and they're like, yeah, I could never imagine dating a conservative or like having my friend date a conservative. Like, and I was like, if their beliefs are harmful, I can get
like
behind
a Nazi or something.
Yeah. If you're a Nazi, don't date them.
Yeah.
But like to just paint up like now, that's like 50% of America. You can't date now. You know what I'm saying? Because your friends don't agree with it, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm sorry, but like, I'm sorry, say this, whatever, but like, guys, look at the men who are like openly proud that they're Democrat compared to guys that are like openly proud that they're conservative.
What about
it? I don't know. I feel like the girls are kicking out all like the actual men.
What do you mean by that? You gotta
Because
elaborate.
I feel like they're all like, I feel like the vast majority, I feel like based individuals, men, if you ask them what their political lines are, they will not give you a straight answer.
Yeah.
And those are the people you want to be friends with.
Fair.
The people that will shit talk both sides to you when you ask them your political opinion, that's the person
My friends
that you're like, all right, they're fucking cool. They know what's going on. They realize that half the system's all rigged against us.
Yeah, yeah.
No matter what side you're on. Those are the people that like
whatever room I'm in, I take the other side to piss people off.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, actually.
And then if you get too far to the right, you get yeehaw rednecks. And if you get too far to the left, you get little whiny cry boys, soy boys who look like little twigs.
I'm a soy boy.
But yeah, so and just living in the city, you see a lot more soy boys than you do rednecks. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. It is an echo chamber here for sure. Like, I'm an independent. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I've only voted once. You know what I'm saying? Like, we haven't been around that long. So I'm still developing my opinions and all that. But, like, I will not like, if I closed out a whole half now, like, how am I going to commit? Like, I just feel like you look like you're going to look silly in, like, 10 years when shit's flipping. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, also, what does that say about you as a person? If you disagree with someone, you're like, all right, guess, sorry, you're never going to reach an agreement.
It means you're not confident either in what you actually believe.
Yeah, and if you want it really, like, if you wanted to play out like that realistically, nothing in our government would ever work.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you want? You want the other side to totally go away, but in reality, that won't ever happen. So the government's just going to be locked in this forever stalemate where one single bill can't get passed. Or it's like,
I wish I could deadass take a time machine and see politics like 15 years before I was born. Just to like, because I feel like you talk to the older generation and they're like, it was never this divided. I feel like sorry, let me correct myself. I feel like you talk to the older generation and they're like, it just seems more divided than it is because of technology. But then you ask like younger generations and they're like, no one agree. I don't know. Like, I feel like our generation believes that no one should agree. And then the older generations are like, no, you're not supposed to agree. But like, you're supposed to work together. Like, I just feel like maybe it's a maturing thing, but I'm just nervous that our generation will like just live with that like conflict attitude. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, well, it's not going so well right now.
Yeah. And I don't,
Dude,
but
you
like,
wanna hear something crazy? Step out on campus and just say, climate change is fake.
well,
See what would happen to you.
yeah, but that's like, I feel like
Yeah, but like that's what I'm saying.
that's like a Northeast, like we're all educated up here though, so we know that shit's real, like,
Yeah, but,
regardless
like,
of beliefs.
in all reality, who gives a shit if you don't believe in climate change? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
I don't know. That's just not something like if
No,
someone
that's
came up to
true,
me and was
like-
like, "Hey, I don't believe in climate change." That's not gonna be the thing where like, dude, fuck you. I'm not gonna talk to you because you're gonna be the reason why the world goes to shit.
yeah.
Like, you know what I'm?
When people say shit like that, I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Whatever. It's one vote. Who, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
it's one like, I feel like we get so worried about, like, we don't have that much power. So, like, if you don't get so worked up if someone doesn't agree with
Right,
you.
but I'm saying like if you raise your hand in
Yeah,
class
yeah.
when the topic was climate change, you said, "I don't believe in climate change," you would probably
over.
get cursed out of the class. I had very high hopes coming to college and like moving to a big city, whatever. But again, half of it was because of COVID, but like a lot of that stuff was just like really, really crushed when I came to school because like
Really?
I've never been in an environment where I felt like not that I'm trying to say any wild shit, but like I feel like I've never been in an environment like I have been here where you actually have to watch what you say, or even like I don't know.
If you want friends of your age, that's how I'll put it.
Yeah. But even like me and the boys back in high school, dude. If like someone recorded the jokes and stuff we used to make with each other and stuff, or just like whatever, like you know, and they played it in today's day and age here, like in this environment, like you'd go to jail.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't go to jail, but like people would be like, "Oh my god," you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
But, like,
I know what you're saying.
But like nobody, you know, we were from all different races, religions, backgrounds, you know, but we were just, you know, like again, this sounds really what the point I'm making right now probably sounds really like low IQ because you're like, oh, this fucking idiot, like, oh, you just wish you could say make stupid jokes to his friends, a piece of shit.
Listening.
But like, but yeah, but at the same time, seriously though, people can't express their genuine opinion.
Yeah, they should be
in universities anymore, and that's an issue. That's a big issue. I think that's a really big issue. Personally, I think half my education was ripped off.
It is I said it once.
Don't get me wrong. I love WSFR and everything. Honestly, WSFR has been the greatest part of my college career.
Yeah.
And I love everything that this club has done for me and the direction it's pushed my life in. But besides for that, it's like I just hear the same shit every class. It's just like over and over and over again.
And I've had select few professors who've established that they do think with the group, but they will raise the question of the opposing side just to like stimulate the conversation.
Yeah.
And like literally my professor in that class the other day, he said something and someone in the class was like kind of snapped on it a little bit. And he was like, I'm just saying. And he was like, I'm just like trying to, and it was like immediate. I was like, damn, dude, we really just shut that the fuck down. Like, there's no open dialogue. But I also like, we could also be ignorant. Maybe it's just college kids. You know what I'm saying? Because like,
no, I think it's urban areas.
I don't know though, because if you get into like a finance bro building, they probably think a lot differently and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that's correct.
And those are in Boston, so it's like
right.
And then you go to certain bars with a certain demographic, the people like who are, I don't know, like just in business and things like that. Like I feel like you have like right now it seems so concentrated because it's just students that we're around and just kids and like it's easy. We haven't been around long enough to have valid opinions, like actually, and like know enough about politics. Whereas people are like, all right, let me just hop on what people are doing so we could all just be friends. And I'm even with that. I'm not even joking. I'm even with that. Like, but I think once you get older, there's
to what extent are you?
I mean, I'm gonna tell people what they want to hear so we can still be friends. Yeah.
Yo, don't say that again. People are gonna catch on to your fucking moves. That's like this is like going back to the star shit. I'm a Gemini, so like everybody always like, oh, you're two-faced,
you're sneaky or some shit like that.
What you're saying to me isn't actually genuine. I'm like, psych.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, you right. I'll never tell you.
No, I mean that sounded bad, but I'm saying like. I'll tell people so we could be friends, but then like if you get a chance and we become close friends and shit like that, then yeah, I'll tell you how I feel and shit like that. But like to be on so I can say what's up to you in the hallways, yeah, I'll keep it civil.
Well, yeah, I mean also like unless besides close friends, like I have a number of friends we never talked politics before in our lives, and we never will, or not politics, philosophy, politics, anything along those lines, because that's just not like the level of our friendship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I totally get where you're coming from. I don't know. I just think things are really, really, really weird right now. I mean, like the Twitter files came out, and like going back to saying, maybe it's just the bubble we're in, but literally the Twitter files that just came out after Elon Musk bought it, he released the files of what Twitter was doing from 2020 and onwards, from the start of the pandemic and onwards. And the FBI was literally reaching out to Twitter to censor certain people on Twitter that held a certain opinion about COVID.
No, it's a little ridiculous.
Dude, that's crazy. The federal government reached out to one of the biggest social media platforms and successfully censored like a whole side of a debate.
Think about like censorship right now though. To what point, like, is there any point, like, is there something someone could say or do or a person could be that does deserve?
Yeah, so
like
I'm
January 6th.
I'm a radical when it comes to this type of stuff. As long as it's not saying, "Hey, I'm coming to your house to kill you," I think you should be able to say anything you want.
That's the thing for me is like I used to think that way. 100%.
I'm not saying what that person says isn't fucked up. Yeah, it could be super fucked up, but to go to jail for it, because once you start legislating on speech, it's a slippery slope.
No, I'm not saying
it's not getting back
going to jail, but I'm saying like
or banning people from social media, blah blah blah. That stuff's such a slippery slope. And as a history nerd who like studies really fucked up governments of the past. It's anything that starts with censorship just does not
The thing
end
is,
well.
like, they were I don't know. I'm very on the fence on this one because I definitely used to think like you, where I was just like, nah, let people say whatever the fuck they want to say. But then January 6th happens, and there's also like, okay, now there are some people who like they could get a lot of fucking people to believe what they're gonna say, and like even though I think it's crazy, I rationally can be like, yeah, that's not fucking true. There's a lot of people who are just gonna believe it. So then there has to be there is a point for me now, at least, like where you have to be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't let this person talk. And I understand that infringes like on freedom of speech and all that.
What do you mean let this person talk? For like what way? Like give me an example.
I mean, like Trump's Twitter getting shut down, I'm not 100% against. I'm not it's tough because like there does become a point where it's like it is kind of dangerous, you know. And I think we were shown that. I know nothing actually really happened. It was just like once they got inside, it became a fucking just a school field trip. But
yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying like people do have that power. Maybe like. I don't know. Like it is tough. Like I actually do because I do agree with freedom of speech, and I don't like cancel culture. I don't like censorship in a sense. But like then there is a point for me at least where I'm like, all right, something has to happen, but I don't know what that is.
Right. I mean, I like for me, it's like if you're like, I think I'm saying if you're advocating for anything that like speech that indicates direct violence or anything like that is just like stuff obviously I'm against. But someone like Trump, honestly, yeah, no, I wouldn't even get behind that, censoring him. Because it's like, again, more than half the country voted for him. I mean, despite all the messed up stuff
I'm not saying censoring
did,
him forever. He shouldn't be like banned. I'm saying like in the time of like where shit was climaxing, like shut his voice off.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think at that time it was just...
Well, what do you all I'm saying is you let him keep talking. Nothing good. You know, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like nothing's going to get solved if he's allowed to still speak.
I mean, in all reality, he was still allowed to speak. Nothing stopped him from speaking. He made his own platforms to keep speaking. No. He still tours the country and speaks to people.
So I guess that's the happy. I guess that's a happy medium, though. So like, does Twitter deserve that privilege? You know what I'm saying? Like they unintentionally became the medium. Do they have that like legislation now? Do they have like that ability to?
Well, I mean, now that Elon Musk came through, like, oh, it's all different now. Yeah. Actually, I'm pretty sure what he did was to hire. He hired. This is the first time it's ever been done before. Instead of hiring a fact checking company, like most other social media platforms do, he hired independent journalists to like fact check everything, which is kind of interesting.
Was that
like
difference?
or that might have been like with the Twitter files actually going through it.
I mean, I don't know. It's just for me, I feel like there is like at a certain point Twitter's not the government.
Right. Well, it's creepy that the government reached out to Twitter to
That's fucked up.
Push a narrative.
But I think like if Twitter wanted to not let someone be on Twitter, that's Twitter's decision. It's not Twitter's fault they became the media. Yeah, they like, all right, you're not allowed on Twitter. Go fucking find another medium, which they do.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing for me. Like, I don't know exactly where I want to take my stance on that because on one hand, it's a private company and private companies should be able to do what they want.
Uh-huh.
But on the flip side, to the extent for how large that social media has gotten, where there's literally millions of people from all across the world that are constantly on it, then it's like that's like an obvious like platform to get the word out to the world if you have the possibility of doing that on there. Then it gets to the point where it's like, well, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like if YouTube decided to come out tomorrow and be like,
but then I'd say you'd have to make like you'd have to make it a public company. Like, you'd have to have government intervention.
What do you mean?
Well, my fault. Like if you wanted to, like, I feel like if you wanted to keep people from, I don't know, like, it's just tough because, like, I think they kind of, regardless of size, I think they do kind of still hold the power of being able to say who uses it or not. And, like, I know it uses their opinions. I don't think it's such a slippery slope because I don't think they should be curving every little fucking tweet. But I think, like, in that sense where it gets that crazy, where I'm talking peak, like, I'm at climax, like, situation. You know what I'm saying?
Like what?
Jan 6. Like, I'm talking
okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that's when, like, intervention comes in. All the shit, I'm saying let him say whatever the fuck he wants up until that point. And then when an event happens like that, you assess.
I really want to say something right now, but it's like, I don't know if I want to say it.
Let it rip. We can cut it.
Okay. Yeah, we could cut it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But the moral of the story is he did change my opinion a little bit.
Everyone's gonna be like, what happened?
Yo, exclusive. You got to join the Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
But anyway, that's just the way I look at it.
No, it's fucked up. It's a fucking sick, sad world sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why, honestly, dude, that's why I get so disheartened sometimes. Because it's just like, you can't win. It's just so fucked up. It's so down deep fucked up.
No, that was a good point though. That was a good point in the sense where I did not look at both sides of it and agreed. I feel like now don't censor people.
yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying.
No, it's a slippery slope. It is a really slippery slope because then you also, I don't know. Yeah. All right, but the weird thing for me, I guess, still is like, what like authority does Twitter hold?
Well, again, that's good. That's a good question, and I don't have the answer for that, obviously. But it's like, again, there's a threshold to when you're a social media platform. I feel like once you go past a certain point, it's like you can't just be censoring. Like, of course, you have you could have or honestly, I wonder how federal law applies to.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there probably isn't anything that's written in.
Applies to social media. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that, honestly.
So you think it's like their moral, like...
Well, they have policies and guidelines, like you can't post blood and gore, you can't post blah, blah, blah.
So you think outside of those guidelines, like if you put a guideline outside of that guideline, you can't... Well, you can't censor someone for, like, say you have your like initial guidelines, your policies, what people have to sign to join the app. Those people don't go outside of what those policies say, but they go outside of what the people who run the apps believe. That's fucked up.
If they censor them,
like, is that yeah? But like,
because if you put in your app,
but the only reason you have the app, like, so what? So I guess what I'm saying is like. All right, say Twitter becomes...
When you get Twitter, is there anywhere on Twitter that says we only support one...
What's stopping them from being able to do that? What's stopping them from being able to one day roll out a thing that says this is a democratic app?
Well, I think they would have to make a different app for that then.
Why? It's their thing.
I don't know exactly how the laws work and stuff around it, but... For something as large as Twitter as it is now, I don't think you could just do that. Because Twitter, I feel like Twitter already stands and has stood as a free form speech platform. And if they were just like all of a sudden like, you know what? We're going to get rid of all these people with a certain opinion just because we don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can't do that. Now, if Twitter came out initially and was like, hey, we're a social media app, but it's only for people that support this opinion, and anyone who does not have this opinion will get kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's fine. But for something, that would be like if tomorrow YouTube came out and was like, all right, we're going to delete If YouTube came out tomorrow, or if Spotify came out tomorrow, it was like, you know what, man? As Spotify as a company, we decided we fucking hate country music.
Yeah.
So every single country song on this app is gonna be gone.
No, you bring in another good point. Agreed.
You know, you just can't.
Fuck. So, like, does legislation have to be put in place? Do we keep doing what we're doing?
I think honestly I keep saying I'm gonna keep saying shit that's gonna get me in trouble, but I think it's moving in the right direction with someone like Elon Musk, who's buying up Twitter with the intention of just making it such a strictly free speech platform. And I think that was such a great example too, because that's an example of how the market, like, that's an example, a positive example of how the market could fix itself in a way. Well, you know, that's, I guess, one part that everybody hates. Oh, it shouldn't be allowed that a billionaire could just come by and buy up a company like this.
Yeah.
But you know what he did, dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super fucking rich and he had the money to do it. But he just bought up a company, went in there, saw that they were literally working with the government to censor people.
Yeah.
And the fact that the government was supporting them is just like a whole nother different conversation. But and then went in there, made all this information public, which was all classified, made all this information public, and then literally went, yeah, like this, I want this to be a free speech platform so you guys can say whatever you want. And then like I said, is coming up with like all these new ways and ideas to like fact check people in like a non-censorship way, you know, or like whatever. It I don't know if it's working right now or not, but what I like about it regardless is it's new. It's something totally new. It's not
Valid.
It's not part of that Silicon Valley pedo ring that runs half the fucking world now.
You don't know that. That shit could still.
Well, yeah, maybe, but at least from the outside, it doesn't seem like that.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Zuckerberg hates Elon Musk. It seems like
valid.
Seems like Soros
Dude,
hates Elon Musk.
I don't believe shit though. To be honest, like that could. I'm telling you, like this could all be so. Like some part of me is always like, it's all just scripted to like.
It could
make us think type shit like
Dude,
this.
Honestly, it could. But in my humble opinion, it just seems like Elon Musk is more of an ally than an enemy.
Yeah.
Compared to all the other billionaires that are seen a lot in the news. You know, I really I don't know if I should like send this to my parents after, because they're gonna listen to it and they're gonna be like start worrying about me. They're like, fucking like my son, like he's all depressed and shit. And it's like, nah, it's just the cold hard truth.
What makes it? What about this is depressing?
Because, dude, we just went through like 10 things. That's like, yeah, well, in the end of
but
it,
that's
it's
is that
up.
not is that not life though? Like I feel like everything's fucked up, and the whole goal of life is just to get it as close as possible to not being fucked up. It's like the pursuit of happiness. You can't ever be happy. You're just always gonna be chasing it. So like,
yeah,
it's you're never gonna.
That's a good point.
You're never gonna hit peace, but you can get as close as you can get as close as you can. I don't know. I just feel like maybe that's a bad outlook. Maybe people don't agree with that. But
no. That's a good outlook. Definitely a good outlook to have. Like, if that works for you, like that's really great. I don't know. See, for me is like
none of it's tangible. Just get as close as possible.
I don't know. I feel like for me, it's like I have moments where I'm like, okay, everything's cool. I mean, I'm like, just gotta worry about myself. Everything's literally fine. But then it's like, again, you know, I have a background in history. And I always relatively try to keep up with world events, you know, roughly. And then just like seeing the trends and knowing historical trends and like seeing where we're drifting towards right now.
Yeah.
Is like next 30 years, probably not going to be a good time to be alive.
Dude.
And like,
I think we're fine.
That, like, because... Yeah, I mean, if we realistically look at it, I guess what pisses me off is I just think it sucks. It's not that it's unfair; it just sucks that like our parents' generation didn't even have to go to college and could literally make such a comfortable living.
Yeah,
doing
literally
anything. When odds are for us, the beginnings of our like careers are gonna be, and like the projection of the economy.
That's
like we're
I
not
feel
gonna
like that's-
start like earning until like
But-
every generation is like projected to earn like livable income later and later and later.
I feel like that's how do you even like there's ways to avoid I mean I'm not smart enough to fucking speak on this at all, but like I feel like that's almost like
And it's like right now, because of our technological advances, we're hitting so much.
AI economy.
Well, we're hitting. All this new technology, it's putting stresses on because we still run in the old world. Have emphasis around that.
What does that mean?
Or quotes around that. Old world meaning like all the systems in which we still mainly operate off of today were created at a point in time before the internet.
Okay.
Our whole entire economic system, majority of stuff, and majority of infrastructure too. So I think a lot of that stuff's being strained right now. And you could even tie this back to spirituality too. I mean, spirituality has been on the deterioration since like the 1800s, but so I think we're in that time. There's going to be another major change within our lifetime. I think we lived through like 2 already, 9/11 and COVID.
I think COVID was like a piece. I don't think COVID was like
I think COVID was a spark that's going to
Agreed.
When 50 years down the line, when we read this, it's going to be like the equivalent to like what? It's going to be like the equivalent to like what? I don't know. The invasion of Manchuria was to like the World War II or something like that. You know what I'm saying? No. Okay. All right. Well, so like something that starts a few years before the big thing happens.
The domino effect.
Yeah. I think that's what COVID was. COVID, then right after COVID, Ukraine.
Yeah.
And then who knows what's going to happen in Ukraine. China, dude, all this stuff with the balloons in the air and shit from China, that's literally crazy, dude.
You think that's
Think
crazy?
of a time of our life when literally United States declared enemy aircraft is in the sky above the United States.
No, dude. You got it all
Think
twisted.
about that.
It's just a civilian weather balloon.
My fucking ass.
You have
dude.
it all twisted.
You know how many pictures they probably have of the Pentagon by now? that and they're probably trying to find all those like they're probably like when they're flown over the Midwest, they're trying to figure out which farmer silos had nuclear warheads in them. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
And they probably did.
Until fucking an F-22 shot that shit down.
No, they already figured out what they needed. They don't give a fuck.
Probably.
They fucking
Dude, they shot another one down over Alaska this morning.
they're
finding them all over the place.
Allegedly, I read some shit that during Trump's administration, there was 3 that we didn't really even know about.
Which makes it even more fucked up because that means they've been doing it for years now.
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
dude,
I don't know.
What happens? We go to war with China. What are you doing?
Fucking enlisting.
Really?
Nah, I don't know. Probably, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I tell everyone that. I'm like, yo, mark my words. If a world war breaks out, I'm like, fuck whatever.
I mean, if there was a draft, I'd probably enlist. I'd like to think I would enlist if there was a draft, but like, cause then I'd be like, oh, I'm on the sideline. You know what I'm saying? It'd be some weird like masculine fucking.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say not to sound like fucked up and like want war and like want to like kill people or see people die, but like if a war
if we
broke
didn't
out,
get canceled yet,
if a war broke out right now, honestly, it would be like I'd be like, thank fucking God. Dude, I would be so fucking hyped to get the fuck out of here and do that shit.
No.
Yeah, dude.
No.
I'm thinking about enlisting already right now just because I'm so fucking bored.
Well, I mean, that's valid if you want a life switch, but a fucking world war doesn't have to catalyst your individual
but like,
change.
imagine all the crazy shit you would do.
Dude, you could do that without a war. You could do that right now. You could.
I mean, can you?
Yeah, you can.
Dude, you're telling me you could fly a helicopter.
You could if you wanted
and
to.
launch a fuck ton of missiles into something and watch it explode.
you could, yeah.
And then just fly away while fucking Creedence Clearwater is playing in the background. Some fox bone, Sam has found hit. Dude, you're telling me you wouldn't want to fucking do that shit? Compared to
Um,
this, whatever the fuck we're doing now, having to go to class, write papers about whatever the fuck they make.
I
us write
like
papers about.
how it is now. I'm happy.
You tell me you wouldn't want to live in a muddy foxhole while your best friend screams for his mother while his life is slipping away from him? Man, you're weird.
Nah, I want to just chill here. I like writing papers. I like reading. I like.
Yeah, no, I guess another big thing for that is too, I think it'd be really, 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 really super cool. Another aspect of why I would want to do that is because it would give me a sense of purpose that would be like so fucking cool.
No, enlisting,
Like-
dude, I have so much admiration for veterans and those enlisted and those active members. It's if you're I genuinely believe the biggest purpose of life, getting full circle. I think the purpose of life is to serve others.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's fulfill. I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with killing other people. I know that's not exactly what happens when you enlist, but I'm just saying, like, I have a lot of respect for those who enlist. I mean, I get to live my life I don't think about anything. Like, I don't even fucking worry about Chinese balloons. I don't worry about nothing because of those people, you know? So it's a balance for me where, like, I'm not going to do it because I don't morally agree with those things, and maybe deep down I'm like but like I might have to cut that one out. But
Nah, you can curse, you good.
I guess for me it's like do that. Like, a lot of people find joy and fulfillment in it cuz and you don't have to go to a battle, you don't have to go to war to figure it out. I have a friend who's straight out of high school. He went to a tech school, and then he's been on the podcast too, Zach Roeder. He went to tech school, and then he went straight into the Air Force, and he's just a planes technician. He works on the engines of fighter jets and shit like that. And he was in the UK for 3 years, stationed at an American base, and now he's in South Carolina, and like he doesn't fight, he doesn't battle, but he's still serving that purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean,
and he has purpose. He brought himself out of a not the best situation to a really good life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole battle thing was kind of like half joking.
No, I get you.
Like, yeah, that's the whole thing. Because, like, I guess, again, a number one, I guess this comes down to, like, the spirituality thing I was kind of hitting on now. Like, when I say, like, there's, like, a hole or something, that's something that needs to be filled. It really comes down to, like, purpose. Because, like, yeah, like, you're going to school, you're going to college to get a degree, to get a good job.
I feel like
But, like, at the end of the day, because I get no gratification or no fulfillment from, dude, I could get an A+ on every single paper I write throughout the whole entire semester, and at the end of the day, that means nothing to me. Nothing. Feels nothing. It's good because it makes my parents happy.
Yeah.
Because that means my money's well spent, right?
Yeah,
because we still are paying money to be here right now.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, like, it means nothing to me. And like, when I do graduate and I do get that degree in my hand, it's gonna mean really nothing to me.
Nothing?
Pretty much nothing.
Come on.
Nothing. The things
Nothing.
that I got was the best things I got out of this is
it's not over yet. You still got 2 years.
Well, yeah, but my relationships, WSFR,
Personal growth.
Personal growth, which, like, I'm super grateful for.
And let's be real, you don't go to college, you don't speak the way you speak about politics. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it does a lot more. Like, I was hating on school up until probably this semester. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I did not like freshman year. I wanted to drop out. Kept going.
I was the same way in freshman year.
Sophomore year was fun because, like, we had, like, parties and shit like that. Like, we had shit to do. It felt like college, and I was like, oh, this is lit.
Same, yeah.
And then this year, it was like, the parties were back and shit, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, but is this all it is? And last semester was like me dealing with, like, trying to figure out the drive, the purpose, the motivation for wanting to do things. And I just kept working at it, and this year things fell into place for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have things that are motivating me. I have things that are pushing me forward, and, like, I see a place I want to go. For a very long time I didn't. And for a very long time I thought it was a waste of money. But I feel like those lulls are important to enjoy the times where you do have something to focus on and you do have something that pushes you, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I definitely got, like, some good stuff. Definitely a lot of good things out of it. But
And you can, but you're in, so like you're in the point right now, I guess if I'm equating it to my experience, you're in the lull where you're grateful for what you have received, you see where you are, but you think there's more, you think there should be more to it. And I'm saying the way your work ethic and the way you are and the way you're pursuing passions, you're not pursuing money. Like you work with WSFR, you work with local bands, you do your thing, you go to shows, like that's going to get you to that place where you're going to have motivation and fulfillment in some activity and some goal. But like everyone has to have that period where you don't know, you don't understand, you're grateful for all the things you recognize it's giving you, but it hasn't given you it yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like to really appreciate you, like to have it, that's special. To have it, like what we're looking for, that purpose, that's like so high up that like you don't even want it to be that easy. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was so easy to have that purpose, it wouldn't be, I think it would lose its effect, you know? So I think the fact that like for me, my goals and what's motivating me, I have an internship that's going to end on March 20th and I have a Costa Rica trip that's basically in the profession I want to do, sustainable agriculture, and that goes from the 19th to the 20th, or from the 13th to the 19th. That's what I'm focused for the next month. I'm dialed in, right? I don't know what's going to happen after that. You know what I'm saying? I could go right back into another lull, but I've completed like a piece of what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like just like keeping your mind open, keep being grateful for what these little things you are getting, then they all fall into place for that bigger picture. Then you get that piece, you get that point, you get that piece of motivation. Like the podcast, when I originally did it for the first year, I was dialed in and I loved it. For not even the year, that's an exaggeration. For the first like 5 months, you know? But then I lost it. I hated myself. I fucking questioned, like, I was like, how did I even do that? Like, you know, it was like a different person. And then literally it's like 2.5 years later and I'm back. You know what I'm saying? Like not back, but like I'm back at that point that I've recognized that it's there and it's there for the taking, but you can't always have it. You know what I'm saying? So like, you just got to keep picking up pieces on the way. You're going to have spurts where it feels like you're fucking, you have a soul, there's purpose, like there's all this divine shit and you're locked in, you serve that goal, you serve that purpose. And Andrew Huberman talks about, I know maybe you said you didn't know him.
No, I listen to him sometimes.
He talks about that dopamine where you see CEOs and stuff like that, when they finally finish those like lifelong goals, they like kill themselves or they don't know what to do. And it's because what dopamine is the motivation to keep going. So I'm trying to, I think the thing is you got to get addicted to you got to fall in love with the process of not having it yet, you know?
Yeah, I guess, or fall in love with a process towards whatever that process is towards. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I know for sure right now this process is towards a degree. Degree isn't like...
A degree is a passport to any job you want. Not any job, but I'm saying like, what are you majoring in?
History.
Yeah, dude, like having a degree in history, I feel like I feel like you're doing it right. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like the fact that you like shit sucks, it means you're doing it right to a certain extent because you're not following what you feel like you should be, or you're not following what people are telling you to. Like I bet you've had people be like, history, what are you going to do with that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. My dad still wants me to be a lawyer.
Exactly, but
I couldn't do that.
But like you finish with history, now say you enter the job field, like because of where we are and like not even like just this is like throughout time, like I bet you the job you're gonna have in 5 years doesn't exist yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and like your combination with your like audio engineering and history, you've probably seen you've seen like drunk history, you've seen like shit like that, like goofy shit. Like there is a lane. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just you keep following like what you enjoy and it's gonna show itself.
Yeah. That's what I've been trying to do, but I don't know.
I feel like you do it. I feel like you do it. Like any interaction I've had with you, you've been positive about.
Yeah. Well, I always try to spit. Yeah, everything is a lot of everything does come down to mindset about stuff, but I guess it more comes down to like, I don't know. A lot of it is like, again, the pursuit of it makes you really happy, but then once it's completed, like you don't feel fulfilled or whatever. And then another aspect is I deal with like I get imposter syndrome really, really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I do get to a place where I'm like, all right, I think I'm starting to get good at this. I think I like this. I want to keep going down along with this process. Then I start feeling like I actually still don't know what I'm doing, and I really don't belong here. And everybody thinks I don't belong here. Like that's how I feel.
That's like I feel like you have voices in your head. Like there's no one voice in your head, and fucking call me crazy for this, but there's a voice in my head that is so positive and so like self-motivating, and then there hits a point where it peaks, and then it turns to like it's like, do you hear this guy? Like you hear this dumbass telling you like you're the shit. Like it, and then
that's what happens to me.
It's and for me, I feel like I gotta be like, oh, okay, there's the asshole. Like there's the one who doesn't want me to do that shit, you know? So it's about listening to the good one, but taking it with a grain of salt, and then listening to the bad one.
The devil and angel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I believe in that shit wholeheartedly.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. Definitely, like right now, this whole semester, actually, this whole year has kind of been like definitely a weird year for me, for sure. I could definitely tell it's a period of like transition, but towards what I don't know. But it's
you don't need to know.
Yeah, no, it's definitely happening. And again, I definitely I think I'm starting to hit that age too. We're starting to hit that age that you're just starting to like notice what works, what doesn't work for you, and how your body reacts to different things. And like I know me personally, like I have carried a lot of bad habits over from high school into college, and I think some of them are starting to catch up with me.
That's literally the first step, though. Just being aware to that. Like there's so many people who would be like, "Oh, my life's falling apart. Why?" And then I'd be like, well, look at this. And they'd be like, no, it's not that. Well, look at that. No, I know it's not that. I've done that forever. Well, maybe that's why. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I definitely know I have an addictive personality because, like, I'm addicted to, like, 3 things.
Money.
Yeah. And, like, people in my family have had it. So, but it's definitely, like, you know, it's like becoming aware of those things. Like I haven't done anything to try to change any of it. Well, I mean, I have for some of it, but it doesn't always work. So, but I mean,
22 days is all it takes.
Yeah, I guess.
I think not people in general. You gotta fall in love with like the challenge of things. You know, like it is fun. It's so rewarding when you do have a bad habit and you break it. You know what I'm saying? And like, or if you do create something you've been talking about doing for so long. You know?
Yeah.
And like I feel like they were just fucking like listing off the names on fucking Rogan, but Goggins, like I was watching a clip the other day and he was just like, if you do something you don't want to do every day, that's a good day.
Yeah.
And it's so facts. Like for me, for so long, I feel like I'm wasting life when I don't read. Like I feel like not reading books is like a waste of human life. That's my opinion. Don't think I'm like judging anyone. But for so long I've thought that way and have not done shit about it. And then this year, like my sister showed me a video about like how much you could change your life, how many books you could read in a lifetime if you just read 30 minutes a day. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna read 30 minutes a day. Like I'm gonna just do it. Like I allotted a time in my day every when I wake up, I do it so I won't like, because if you do it for like you're like, oh, I'll do it right before bed. No, you won't. You'll fall asleep. You'll be tired. You're not gonna do it. Make a point to do it. And I didn't want to, and now like I find myself picking up my phone and reading news instead of Instagram. Find myself, you know what I'm saying? Like,
really? How long did it take you until you went from, oh, I don't want to do this, but I need to allot 30 minutes to do this, to now where it's like, oh, fuck yeah, it's time to read?
10 days.
10 days, really?
I'd say, first off, you got to get something you're going to enjoy reading, which is hard in itself. Second, I'd say, I think for me, what the sickest part of it is I've always seen my dad's always sending me sick news articles, like sick like stories going on around me, and I'm like, how the fuck does he find these? And I'm like, I want to be like that. I want to be able to find like information that easily. And I'd say just now this week, after a month and 10 days of doing it, it's hit that point like where I'm reading right now for a class, like the political class. I have to write a paper, and it's not due for 2 weeks. But I started reading today, and like, because I was like interested in the subject. I'm being dead ass, and that's not me. That is not me. I usually wait till the day before to do it. I was reading it, and I'm clicking on links off the links, and I'm like, now I'm like well versed in a topic, and I'm like, no shit, I was like, I just enjoyed that. So I think it's like putting the intent. It was like once I found out reading was fun for like leisure time, school became more fun. It took a second. It definitely took a second. And the way I did it was actually super beneficial because like I started the habit outside of school. So I had all day. Like the only thing I had was work for a period of time without school. And that gave me like ample time to find 30 minutes. Like if I didn't find 30 minutes, like I felt like a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, that's a bad day. Chalk that up as a bad day. So then I just wouldn't let that happen because I didn't want bad days. And then when school rolled around, I was still leisurely reading, but then those school readings came up and I was like, oh, this is interesting, you know? And I can't say that's what's going to happen for everybody else, but it did what I wanted to do. And I always felt like I was interested in my classes. I just didn't apply myself. And then I was always like, how do I apply myself? And it's like, no, you need to sort out like your like leisure life almost to be able to really apply yourself to your work life.
Yeah, no, I feel that. That's like a thing where I'm at right now. Definitely trying to figure out like the leisure time because it's like high school. I felt like when I had free time, which was very little because high school was on 2 different swim teams. High school, I was in like a few different clubs.
Yeah, high school, I don't know how any of us did it. It's like 7 to like 9 we'd be doing shit.
If I had to do that now, I think I'd drop dead because honestly, I go to school for like 4 hours and I'm like, whoo, what a day! And then I don't do shit for the rest of the day because I'm like, man, I had a long one today.
Yeah,
you know,
I'm still listening of my phone.
But yeah, like that's what I feel like. And then when I did have free time in high school, I would just watch something on Netflix. But like now, it's like, now I don't really get as much enjoyment.
Instagram, what are you doing
now? Well, one, I'm not watching anything anymore because like except for the occasional things that are really good that I really enjoy that it comes out, like when a new Star Wars show comes out, like I love that shit. I always watch it. But like for the most part, I'm not doing anything. So I do fall into doom scrolling a lot. Just get sucked in.
Do you check it? Are you aware of your screen
screen time?
Screen time?
No, not really. No, but honestly, it's just like I get in these phases where like, yeah, I don't know. I just get it. Some of it ties in, I think, maybe with some of the bad habits I was talking about before. That I just get kind of like stuck in bed where I'm like, I know I have shit to do. I need to go do it. And then like, I don't know. It's like
it's all about momentum. Like you gotta break the first thing.
Yeah. And then it's like with homework too. So homework. That's why school pisses me off a lot because it's like, all right, I have a paper due tomorrow. I need to write it tonight. But I also I really need to do my laundry after I write my paper. It's only a 1-page paper. I can get this done in literally...
That ain't no paper. That's a page.
Yeah, no, whatever. It's a 2-page paper. But this is what I'm saying. It could be something as simple as this.
Yeah.
2-page paper. It could literally take a half hour. This thing will be done. You know what I'm saying? Not even. And then I could go do my laundry after.
Or why not at the same time?
Or at the same... Whatever. But I dread doing the paper. But then...
I get what you're saying, though.
But then all the other chores I had to do after, which are important... even sometimes coming down and just like making my bed, which are just like, you know, like make you feel like a decent human being when you do them. Well, I always make my bed every day.
I think,
but like what I'm saying, the point I'm getting to is like, I guess, however, just how my head works. If I can't get that homework done, nothing's fucking getting done.
Flip the process then. Do the shit that you can get done. And then then the homework's the last thing.
But when I end up doing that is because, like, again, my girlfriend's really trying to get me to see a doctor because she thinks I have ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm, like, just trying to become conscious of these things. I'm trying not to think that I do have it because then I think if I think I do have it, then I'm only going to think I have. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to think that I'm still...
You don't have ADHD.
That I don't have it. Right.
Yeah, you don't have it.
Yeah. But... because like what I was saying, like if I start doing those things, like start doing chores or something, then I get in like a hyper focus that's like, you know, I'll start doing things related to it, or like because so when you're saying like you need to get that momentum going, what I'm saying is when I get that momentum going, I can't do shit that I'm supposed to do. When I get the momentum going, I do shit, but I'm going. But majority of the fucking time, I'm doing shit that nobody wants me to do. I'm just doing it because I'm like, in my head, I somehow reach this place. But instead, there's all these responsibilities and stuff that I have to get done that, you know, some people are like literally paying money for, and can't get around to it.
Nah, I hear you. I was in the same boat. I'm telling you, like, you know, I've talked about coming on fucking this radio station for so long. Like, you know it. Like, so I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I just had to get my shit right at home.
It's also tough, too, because, like, right now mental health is talked about so much, especially men's mental health. But yet I still feel like, and again, I feel like this ties into what we were talking about before about some like ideologies being prevalent on universities and stuff. That is just like you can't like honestly talk about, like, I don't know, it's still like not as open as much as like
I feel like
say it is.
I think everybody's got a therapist, and then they talk to that therapist, and then they don't talk about it outside the therapist. That's how I feel about it lately. Yeah.
Well, do you think a lot of guys our age have therapists? Because I don't. I tried it once, and I was like, I honestly was like,
I think a lot of girls do. I don't know.
A lot of girls do. See what I'm saying? I'm talking about guys. Because like I feel like it's still like a bit of a.
I don't even
taboo to an extent to like really like open up. I guess.
Bullshit. I think it's because women are proactive and men are lazy, and not men are lazy, but men are.
Men used to do like I remember this clear as day. Freshman year, me and Cam were wrestling, and a group of girls came in the room and we're like, "Oh my god, are you guys really wrestling right now?" And we're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "The toxic masculinity in here is just like I can't handle this anymore," and like sitting in history class, like I don't know, there's just like sitting in class, like a lot of things is like. And a lot of things people are going against is like people always talking about, oh, toxic masculinity, blah, 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 where it's like if you show like strength or assertiveness and stuff like that, like
I do agree with that.
Those are deemed as like toxic.
There is toxic masculinity, and then there also is just genuine masculinity.
But I think I feel like today those two things get mixed up into one.
Yeah, of course.
And it just like this big, and then again it comes down to
not
like,
all masculine is not
toxic
all
masculinity, but I feel like one picture of that is always painted, and it's just like that's another reason. Like I'm just tired of hearing shit like I don't care about, or like I don't like. I'm tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, and I just feel like schools, universities, just like you're saying, is just an echo chamber of the same fucking thing over and over and over again. And like that's just like all I hear, and it's just like I'm so over it.
Yeah, you
seem so over it.
No, like, I hear it. I don't give a fuck, to be honest. The thing with me is like, I feel like
I just like never want to sit in a class again where I have to hear that white men are the cause, white straight men are the cause of all the issues in this country. That like I don't want to hear that shit anymore. Like. I don't care. And then people, and then if you raise your hand to give like your input on it, everybody's like, fuck you, because you're a white man, white straight man. Your input isn't valid. Again, I'm speaking from my experiences, not speaking from everyone else's experiences. And to be in a time of our lives where we're supposed to really, really be learning and exploring ourselves and questioning everything, it was one big fucking lie that they told us, or at least that they told me, because I come to college and I was told you need to fall into fucking line with what everybody else thinks. And if you actually put in your own fucking opinion into your paper, which I did try freshman year, professors would literally give me 50s and 60s when I put my genuine opinion down on paper. And they're like, you need to fall in fucking line or you're gonna get kicked out. And if you even among friends too, just saying things like that, saying, or even something at home.
Do you think that's just the
like,
school you picked though?
Could be, but I just know university systems are
you think it should
controlled mainly by people of one way of thinking, across the country.
Yeah, so like if you went to a
So it's the
school,
same
it'd be the same shit.
same story everywhere. And again, this is me. I might find these things more annoying than like, let's say you do. You know, you
I'm
might
also
not
like
give a
more
fuck about
to
that.
shit like that.
I'm just tired of big issues and shit. Like, I don't know. And I've had people be like, "Well, Mitch, like they're not talking about you specifically in class, like you know that." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but it's just like I don't know, there's just something about it, and it's just like I can't genuinely tell people like the way I was raised, I can't genuinely share with the vast majority of people here because they would think about me in a certain way.
Facts.
That like, dude, I grew up in the country. Like I grew up driving quads, shooting guns from literally since I could walk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what we grew up with. That's how it was, you know, like, and it's just like, you know, you tell some people that they get one, oh, you're from the country, that means you're probably conservative, and then blah blah blah, which then you start making all these assumptions about you.
Yeah.
And you know, that's like that, you know, it's like you actually don't have any idea what my
I know.
political beliefs are, you know?
I think
And I'm just so over it.
I feel you.
Over it. To me, it's gotten so, because like everybody remembers when this shit's kind of like started, you know?
Yeah.
And like when it started, like who gave a fuck? Like, oh, all right, yeah, like, you know, like, okay, yeah, oh no, it's good. It's important to like point out, you know, these certain things and the wrongs in history and whatnot. But I don't know. It's just getting to a point where it's just like, shut up.
Yeah. No,
like leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think what I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna believe what I believe, and leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Like,
nah, I hear you. I get what you're saying.
And I think everybody should have the respect to let anybody do that. Whatever.
I think
you know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
you're just in a tough, like, Boston's just a big fucking school, so you're surrounded by kids. Yeah. There's a lot of us who might graduate with a major and still go back to our serving jobs, go back to our minimum wage jobs, and those are real jobs too. Don't get me wrong, but you don't have to be involved to know about like what you should for your personal being, but you don't have to. But then there's jobs where your politics and your beliefs are gonna change because you recognize how shit actually works. Right now we live in like not fake, but we live in a world that's told to us. You know what I'm saying? Like we were going back to earlier, like everything I know about anything in terms of how the economy works, in terms of how policy works, in terms of how like businesses run, how money's made, how capital's moved, I've been told, but I have not experienced any of that yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I've worked in a restaurant job. I've learned how to make money for myself. I've learned how like the rankings of like a system work. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced those things firsthand, but like I think you just got to be a little patient with people because it seems like that now, but we're all 21-year-olds trying to live lives and be we're trying to be confident, right? Everybody's trying to be confident in their opinions. They're trying to present a persona that they genuinely believe is right, it's true, it's them. But we haven't had enough experiences to create that yet. So you have people who are creating that based off of things they're told, and it's just dicey where like...
Yeah, see, I would buy that, and I used to buy that until when the main thing you practice is in diversity and inclusion, and that's the one thing that in reality isn't actually like real, then that's when I lose like respect. That's when I like tap out. I'm like, all right, I'm done trying. Like, why even?
It's not
to me, the point of college, like especially in anything in the humanities, which is history is part of the humanities. Like the point of the humanities is to, like, literally. I mean, with really any field is to question literally everything. Yeah, you know, to go to look at everything from every different possible perspective, like anything like that. And like I said, I just don't think. It's presented in a very one-way type of thing nowadays, and it's like nobody... Again, this ties into the bigger political polarization of the country. Like, nobody's willing to sit down like the way we are right now and like separating out people's opinions from them as people.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like how it is. And
I think people.
And
have
as
to
I
pay
get older,
attention.
I've been seeing it's getting worse, not better. So it's like
We've been-
that's why like my urge to buy a homestead in the middle of the fucking woods and not.
Yeah.
Dude,
Do it.
you know how
Fuck it.
sick it would be to have some cattle and like chickens, a giant
No,
garden.
I know you. I'm
apple
trying to get into
orchard.
farming.
Yeah, no, that's my end goal. It's just between now and then, I don't know what I want to do, because I couldn't do that for the rest of. I probably could do that for the rest of my life if I made enough stuff for me to do. If I got enough animals, set enough traps, and had a big enough garden to keep me busy for the rest of my life. But I feel like while I'm young, I want to go out and do something first before I buy
facts.
that chunk of land and
I
settle
agree with
down.
you.
But what it is until then, I don't know. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But that's your challenge though, is like
that's my
navigating through this
challenge.
world.
It's just I don't know. I don't know if I made the wrong choice going to
dude.
school in a city or whatever. But I'm a big I made the choice. Stick
But
with it type
you're
of person.
uncomfortable. Like I feel like it's good. It's
That's why I
teaching you
came
so
to a
much about
city.
yourself.
That's why I came to the city, because like I said, I grew up in bumfuck nowhere. And I was
Exactly.
like, I need to branch out. And like I live close to New York, but like my whole family works in New York, so I was like, let me pick a different city, something that totally original to me. Like you know, like, and that was the point, to get out of my comfort zone. And I came here and I did. And like I said, there's aspects of living in the city
Came here and I did it, and I'm uncomfortable.
Well, no, there's aspects of living here that I fucking love. Like this whole music thing that I'm into now, and this whole audio stuff is really, really awesome. I love it. Obviously, like my girlfriend's from Boston, met her. It's been great. And there's some other like really cool experiences and just things I got to learn that I wouldn't have otherwise living in a city. And I just think it's good to be a well-rounded person. I think it's just good to know what it's like to live in the city and what it's like to live in the countryside. You know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
It makes you a well-rounded person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, it's definitely doing that. It's I don't know. It's just there's certain things
That really pissed me off.
that really piss me off. But if they weren't there, it would almost be like if they weren't there, nothing would be like they're little things, but to me it makes it very big.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Get emotional about it.
Yeah.
Show your emotions.
yeah, no, but like those yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I could start
none of that.
I could start crying if you want me to. Oh, we all have compression on these. Oh, look at that. Whoa.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but both my phone and computer might die. I'm nervous about losing this.
Hey, that's all right.
So we'll put a pin in it, and we'll definitely pick it up.
Yeah, sounds good.
But thank you guys. Peace out.